Hey, everybody out there. This is the official first episode of the AC podcast. In this podcast, I'm mainly going to be talking about the Eagles and Steelers, but I'm going to cover some other teams as well. But I want to make something clear right now. Even though this is the first official episode, it's going to get hot. Because I am not in a good mood right now. I am not in a good mood. I'm not. I'm in a very, very bad mood. And I'm going to tell you why. But I'm going to start off with a win first. Because the Philadelphia Eagles did win their game yesterday. I'm going to touch on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to touch on them. We got issues in Pittsburgh, that's for sure. But I'm going to touch on these Philadelphia Eagles first. Played the Redskins yesterday, divisional game, 132-27. First half, it was not looking good. Offense was struggling for the most part, except for that bomb that Deshaun Jackson that Carson Wentz threw. But other than that, the offense didn't really do anything. The defense, my oh my, did they put on a stinking performance yesterday. Case Keenum, they had Case Keenum out there looking like the second coming to Tom Brady. Case Keenum. What a shame. Defense just had lapses all over the place. Give up a 70-yard, but Rasul Douglas getting absolutely scorched by Terry McLaurin, a rookie from Ohio State. Got scorched for 75 yards, something like that. Got completely outran. Defense can't tackle them. Missed like 4 tackles trying to tackle Vernon Davis, hurdling over dudes like this. The high jump, long jump, running to the end zone. Can't nobody touch him. Run defense was pretty stout, though. I'll give them credit for that, even though they made Adrian Peterson a healthy scratch yesterday. Run defense was pretty good. But the defense, my God. What an embarrassment that was in the first half. What an embarrassment. Doug Peterson, the running game could get going. Darren Sproles was getting too many carries in my estimation. Miles Sanders was getting stuff behind the line of scrimmage. Jordan Howard barely played. But when he did touch the rock, he was effective. He was very effective. Carson Wentz was struggling. Seemed like everything was dipping and dunking for the most part until he got that long ball to Deshaun Jackson. My goodness, what a game Deshaun Jackson had. What a game he had. 8 receptions, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. Whew. But the Eagles, they did not start off good. They were down 17-0 before you knew it. Redskins came out and punched them straight in the mouth. Let them know this wasn't going to be an easy game. The point spread for the betting point spread was like 10.5 points. It was double digits. It was looking like the Redskins were going to cover that in the opposite direction because the Eagles just didn't show up. They just did not show up in the first half. But they came to play in the second half. They came to play. Outscored the Washington Redskins 32-10 in the second half, or 32-7. D made some adjustments. Offense made some big adjustments. Once Deshaun Jackson got going, that opened up the rest of the passing game because there was no passing game to speak of in the first half other than that long ball to Deshaun Jackson. There was nothing to speak of. But once they got those 2 long balls to Deshaun, intermediate game opened up. Zach Ertz started getting catches. Aguilar started getting catches. Alshon started getting catches. The running game opened up. Deshaun Jackson basically opened up this offense, which is what I expected to happen when they traded for him. But I mean, you can attribute the slow start to rust or whatever, but that was not a good look in the first half for the Philadelphia Eagles. I expect this team to be a Super Bowl contender. I expect them to be, but that was a stinker in the first half. Second half, they resurged. I appreciate it. They overcame a 17-point deficit, and Carson Wentz looked like the stud. He looked like an absolute stud. Anybody questioning whether he could play quarterback? There's no question he could play quarterback. It's a question of his health. And his health was absolute. And his health is the thing that's going to make the difference in whether this team goes far or not. I think he's going to stay healthy. We don't need Nick Foles anymore. We don't. But this man, Deshaun Jackson, in his first game back in Philadelphia after Chip Kelly got rid of him, 8 receptions, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was something special yesterday. He was something magnificent yesterday. Carson Wentz ain't never had a deep threat like this. He ain't never had a deep threat, period. He ain't never had a deep threat, period. I mean, you can consider some guys deep threats, but I mean, what has he had, really, since he's been in the league for a deep threat? Jordan Matthews ain't no deep threat. Nelson Aguilar's not a deep threat. He was the worst receiver 2 straight years before he had a good third year. Dorial Green-Beckham, don't even get me started. Zach Ertz, he's a reliable target, but he's relatively an intermediate to short to intermediate target. Alshon, he can make contested catches, but he's not a deep threat. Bryce Treggs, I don't even need to say anymore. You guys don't even know who that is, so don't even get me started. He ain't never had no threat like this. You see how Andy Reid's offense looks when they have Tyreek Hill. He can take the top off the coverage. When you can take the top off the coverage like that, something special. It's just really something special. It really is. Deshaun Jackson be able to draw coverage away to open up the rest of this offense? Because you really don't have an elite guy in this offense. There's not really an elite receiver, per se. You have a lot of guys that do a lot of different things. Alshon's possession guy, a contested catch guy. Ertz is a short to intermediate guy. Dallas Goedert, short to intermediate guy. You have 3 versatile running backs with Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard in between the tackles. Miles Sanders, an overall back, pass catching and running. Darren Sproles can, I don't know what they do with Darren Sproles. Run him in between the tackles, I guess, but he's more of a pass catching back to me. You have Corey Clement, mostly a receiving back option. You have Nelson Aguilar, he's mainly a slot guy. So, I mean, but they have a lot of versatile guys. And I expect this offense to be a top offense. And I expect it to perform like the way it did yesterday. But this defense has to improve. Jim Schwartz, they made great adjustments in the second half, so I'll give them credit. They made a comeback, I'll give them credit. But they can't have another stinker like that against a backup quarterback. Because Case Keenum ain't no starter in this league. That's for certain. There ain't no starter in this league. No way. He's a backup. I'm just looking at these stats for Case Keenum. 30 of 44 for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns? Come on, man. We got to do better than that. Defense got to do better than that. Defense got to do better than that. That was unacceptable yesterday. But I credit the Eagles for making adjustments in the second half. I give Jim Schwartz his respect for today. But that better not happen again when we play the Redskins. That can't happen again. It can't. But that's all I have to say about the Philadelphia Eagles. Because I have a more pressing matter to get to. I have a very, very pressing matter to get to. These Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Now, going into the season, I expected this defense to be improved with the addition of Devin Bush. Mark Barron, of course. Steven Nelson on the outside. You're bringing back TJ Watt, Stephon Tuitt, Vince Williams, Cameron Hayward, Bud Dupree, Joe Hayden, Terrell Edmonds in the second year, Sean Davis. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell was that last night? What was that? 0 points in the first half? 20-0? I mean, my God, what was that last night? What was that? Especially on defense. Especially on defense. We got problems in Pittsburgh. We got problems. We got problems. This is not a good look. And I'm not in a good mood. At all. This is no good. No good. The defense, the breakdowns, the coverage, the blown coverages, everything. It was just unbelievable. The first touchdown they gave up of the season, a blown coverage. Josh Gordon running a drag and don't nobody pick him up in the secondary. No one. He just skirts unfree. Unbelievable. A touchdown to Philip Dorsett. Philip Dorsett was having a day on us. Philip Dorsett, he was having a day on us. got a touchdown up the seam on Hilton. But I don't know. I don't really think it was Hilton's fault because he's playing with outside leverage and man coverage, trail technique, thinking that Terrell Edmunds is going to have him on the inside. And Terrell Edmunds gets fooled and covers outside and opens up the door for Philip Dorsett to get an easy touchdown. And then Keith Butler rears his ugly head again with these defensive schemes, putting linebackers on receivers. Vince Williams ended up covering Josh Gordon on a play yesterday. And of course, you know what happened. He got beat and he gave up the reception, of course. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, man. For the last 3 years on defense, all you hear is, oh, the Steelers need to communicate better. But for some reason, why are there still miscommunications in the secondary? Now, I get it. Sean Davis was out. Cameron Kelly was starting his first NFL start. I get all that. But this is unacceptable. You're returning almost 8 or 9 starters from this defense. And this is the product that you put out on the field? This is the result? 33 points? What are Tom Brady's stats yesterday? 24 of 36 for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And let me get to this offense. Let me get to Big Ben in general. Because Big Ben asked for this. He asked for this. Big Ben asked to be the sole leader of this team. Antonio Brown's not here. Le'Veon Bell's not here. There's no one to blame but Ben Roethlisberger. He did not have a good game yesterday. At all. It was unacceptable what he did. Because he didn't show up. 24-47, 277 yards, no touchdowns, interception. First time you ain't thrown a touchdown pass since October of 2018. 3 of 12 on third down. Didn't convert a third down in the first half. James Conner, nowhere to be found. 10 rushes for 21 yards, 28, whatever. Dante Moncrief, don't even get me started on him. He looks like he should be cut today. Targeted 9 times, 2 catches for 4 yards, and 4 drops. Second receiver spot was, oh man, it was bad yesterday. Juju couldn't get open. They had Stephen Gilmore shadowing him most of the game, and he couldn't get open. They didn't even double cover him. They single covered him. Making J.C. Jackson's comments earlier in the week look valid. Big Ben looked like he didn't want to play yesterday. It looked like it was time for him to hang up the curtain. Throwing throws behind the receiver, overthrowing receivers on multiple deep balls. Underthrowing balls. Couldn't get anything going on offense. I mean, Tom Brady's picking your defense apart. You can't even discuss. The Patriots are running the same thing. They're running man coverage across the board. And you're running the same stuff. And let me get to Randy Fichtner because this is really annoying to me. Randy Fichtner thought it was a good idea. I'm trying to figure out what the Steelers' game plan was. I get it, play man coverage because you usually play zone and Tom Brady picks you apart, yada, yada. But on offense, you ran the same play 2 times in a row and it didn't work. You ran that stretch, that misdirection stretch with the guards pulling and whatnot in the center. It's like a zone running play, but it's the same play they ran against New England last year when they beat them. Because Jalen Samuels carved them up on it. It's a shotgun run. And the Patriots were ready for it. They showed they were ready for it. The Steelers didn't get any running game going. And they definitely didn't get any traction going with that running play. The Steelers must have ran it like 4 or 5 times. And each time New England was ready for it. At some point, why do you keep running the same thing if it's not working? Steelers continuously ran the same stuff. They went empty. Just like they did last game against New England. Last game against New England. I mean, what was the game plan going into the game? Run empty and then run that misdirection stretch play to the opposite side of the line? What was that? What were you watching on film? There's just too many question marks about this coaching staff to me. And this all falls on Mike Tomlin because this team was unprepared to play in prime time. He said it, but there's serious questions about Mike Tomlin. I'm going to get into that. Because I think it's time for him to go. And I'm not saying it's just because of yesterday. I'm saying it's because of past experiences. The last decade. The Steelers have not done anything. And this is unacceptable for a team that prides itself on winning championships. It's a shame. It's a shame. And I'm getting tired of people making excuses for Mike Tomlin saying he's got a 65% winning percentage. And that's gotten the Steelers where? Mike Tomlin's underperformed with a lot of talented rosters. And his side of the ball has been the side of the ball that's been a disgrace. A disgrace. It's been humiliating the last few years. It's been humiliating. Y'all realize the Steelers haven't been to a Super Bowl since 2010? 2010. And in that same time frame, Mike Tomlin's only got 3 playoff victories in a decade. And we're comparing this guy to Bill Belichick, talking about he got the second most wins to Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's winning Super Bowls. I'm not saying you got to win a Super Bowl every year. I realize that is not a realistic thing. But dang, could you break through 1 year? You ain't get to no Super Bowls with Le'Veon and Antonio. You didn't even get to 1. You got the 1 conference championship and you got blown off the field by the Patriots again. And let's bring into question these 3 playoff victories, because Mike Tomlin's 3-5 in his last 8 playoff games. And let's bring into question these 3 playoff victories. You beat Matt Moore and the Dolphins. I don't even need to say any more about that. You beat Alex Smith. And you see what happened once the Chiefs got a real quarterback, because we know check down Alex ain't doing nothing. Nobody. You beat the Chiefs on 6 field goals. It's unacceptable, man. And you beat the Bengals, who beat themselves. But let's bring up those 5 playoff losses. You lost to the Broncos twice. You lost to Tim Tebow, which is unacceptable. You lost to Peyton Manning, who could barely throw. You lost to Joe Flacco, who is not a good quarterback. You lost to New England. And then you got beat down. You gave up 45 to Blake Bortles. I have never seen such a disgrace in my life. You gave up 45 to a quarterback in an offense that was allergic to offense. It was like a disease in their locker room. They couldn't get any offense going with Blake Bortles. And that's what you gave up 45 to him. And Mike Tomlin, let's remember Mike Tomlin's background. Because I'm sick and tired of people giving him a pass. Let's remember his background, where he came from before he was the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A defensive backs coach with Tampa Bay from 2001 to 2005, and the D coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings in 2006 before he ultimately got the head coaching job in 2007 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has a defensive background in this defense. Other than the time that he inherited a great defense already with Hall of Famers on it, his defenses have not been stellar. I get it. You can say, oh, they led the league in sacks. And how many turnovers did they produce last year? We know what Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we know what an elite defense looks like. And this defense does not look anything like that. It hasn't looked like that in a long time. And we know it. Let's not get started on the numerous amount of draft picks you've invested in this defense. A first round pick in the last 7 drafts on defense. And this defense is still bad. Don't even get me started on the corners that you can't draft. The corners that you've missed on. Artie Burns, he's done. He needs to be cut immediately. He's not good. Senquez Golson. Doran Grant, Jarvis Jones. Oh man, 4 sacks in 4 years in Pittsburgh, or 6 sacks in 4 years in Pittsburgh. That's unacceptable for an outside linebacker. Bud Dupree, he's looking like he don't even deserve to be on the field. He got owned by Isaiah Wynn last night. He got absolutely demolished. He couldn't even get past him. Bud Dupree, he's done in Pittsburgh as far as I'm concerned. If they pay him a contract, because T.J. Watt couldn't get free last night. New England was smart. T.J. Watt's a rising superstar in this league as a pass rusher, but New England, and rightfully so, chipped him, double teamed him. They did everything to make sure he wasn't going to have a day on Tom Brady. They did everything. But I got to call into question a lot of things. It's looking like the Steelers should. Because I don't see how the Steelers can win a Super Bowl. Not with Mike Tomlin, the head coach. I just don't see it. It may be time to blow this thing up as far as I'm concerned, because the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, even though I don't believe in Phillip Rivers like that, Tom Brady still playing like he's 25. It does not look like the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, there's no way they could beat New England in Foxborough. We've seen this story too many times. You try to train yourself to believe maybe they could win this time. No, they can't. And they won't. Do you guys realize that New England against Pittsburgh in New England is 6-0, 21 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for Tom Brady, 71% completion, 2,138 yards. And in the last 4 home games that they played, the Pittsburgh Steelers have outscored them by 80. That's utter domination. What are we talking about a rivalry between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots for? What rivalry? This is like a hammer to a nail. That is what this is. The Pittsburgh Steelers didn't even show up last night as far as I'm concerned. The popcorn man at Foxborough showed up more than the Pittsburgh Steelers did, putting up 3 points and the defense giving up 33, excuse me. What a humiliation for a storied franchise, for a historic franchise, for the most revered franchises in the NFL. That was a disgraceful performance last night. Disgraceful. On national TV. I'm sorry. But I think it's time for Mike Tomlin to go. He's proven that he can't elevate a franchise. He can't elevate a team. You got what you asked for. Le'Veon's gone. Antonio's gone. This defense hasn't improved. Now I'm looking straight at Mike Tomlin. I'm looking straight at him because his specialty is supposed to be defense. My thing is, when you're a head coach, is you cannot be bad on the side of the ball that you're known for. And the Steelers have been consistently bad on defense for a while. Consistently bad. This is all Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger gotten everything they wanted. Ben Roethlisberger wanted Todd Haley gone. He got Randy Fichtner. He wanted AB gone. Well, he criticized it. Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger had problems with AB. AB's gone. Le'Veon, the offensive line, had problems with him. He's gone. There's no one else. And then there was an article that came out by Mike Freeman, well written, that says Mike Tomlin chose Ben Roethlisberger over everybody, which I can't fault him for. He's the franchise quarterback, but they're in this together. And if they don't start producing, it's going to get ugly in Pittsburgh. It's going to get ugly. I already think Mike Tomlin should have been gone after last year. But he'll definitely be gone if the Pittsburgh Steelers don't improve. I don't know why Mike Tomlin's so attached to Keith Butler, but he needs to get rid of him or he's going to go down with the ship because I don't trust this defense with Keith Butler as the defensive coordinator. I'm sorry, I don't. He's got no fresh ideas. He's got no innovative schemes. The Pittsburgh Steelers are arrogant if they think that they can run the same stuff they did last year and win games. They're arrogant if they think they can run cover 2 against these spread offenses and think that they're going to stop somebody. They're arrogant. Pittsburgh Steelers are arrogant if they think they can run the same plays and not make any adjustments. I just didn't see any adjustments. And it's a thing. It's a consistent thing where Mike Tomlin's getting out coached with X's and O's. Part of your job as a coach is to lead and motivate the players. But another part of your job is to make adjustments and adapt. And he doesn't do that. I get it. We're comparing him to Bill Belichick as far as that. And Bill Belichick is probably the greatest defensive mind we've seen. But he adapts. New England never looks like the same team every week. They look like a different team every week. They know how to adjust and adapt on offense and on defense, where they need to run the ball 30 times, whether Tom Brady needs to throw it 50 times, whether they need to lean on the defense and they need to stop the run, they need to stop the pass, they need to mix up coverages, blitz more often. Whatever they do what needs to be done. They do what needs to be done. Pittsburgh Steelers, they look like the same team every week, running the same schemes, hoping for a different outcome against this same opponent, and it doesn't work. Failed to convert on 3 short yardage plays. Mike Tomlin electing to kick a field goal instead of going for it on 4th down in the red zone. You're already down by 3 scores. What do you think kicking a field goal is going to do? You're still down by 3 scores regardless. Oh, I just want to build on some positivity. Bro, you're already down 20-0. You're already down 20-0. It's no worse than that. At that point, you're just protecting your pride. There's a lot of question marks, man. There's a lot of question marks, and I'm not pleased. I don't think this team can get back to the Super Bowl, not with Mike Tomlin at the helm, and it doesn't look like Ben Roethlisberger wants to play. And if he does, it's not looking like he's going to have much help after last night. There's a lot of question marks in this receiving core. It's not looking good. The receiving core does not look good at all. Ryan Switzer, he looked like he can't shake nobody out their shoes. He was getting tackled so easily. He's the easiest guy to tackle in the stadium, other than the hot dog guy. It's unbelievable. James Washington I don't know why Johnny Holton was getting playing time over James Washington. Why rave about James Washington at camp and say he had this great camp and then put some guy, Johnny Holton, in over him in the first few series in the game? That makes no sense to me. Juju, he's going to find it's going to be life. This is life as number one receiver, man. And I can't fault Juju because he's going to be getting a lot of double coverage and a lot of teams' best corners. So someone's got to step up. But it doesn't look like it's going to be Dante Moncrief. He was an absolute... Oh, man. He was bad last night. He was bad. He had a season worth of drops last night. 4 drops. You targeted 9 times and you only caught 2 balls for 4 yards. Hands look weak. He looked like he didn't want to play football last night. He looked like he should have been at a cupcake factory or something. I don't know what that was last night, but it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing all around. As a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm humiliated for this team. That was terrible. That was a lackadaisical effort. They were unprepared, completely unprepared. It was disgusting to watch. It was just disgusting to watch. But let me move on, because I could go on about this all day. Let's take a look at the rest of the division. AFC North. It's looking like the Ravens are the team to beat right now. Lamar Jackson put on a show yesterday. And I'm going to get into that travesty that was the Miami Dolphins, because that was a disgrace. But the Ravens, they're legit on D. We already knew that, but they got a defense. They got a hell of a defense. Regardless of losing to Zadarius Smith and C.J. Mosley, they got a hell of a defense. With the addition of Earl Thomas, making an instant impact yesterday, got an interception. Lamar Jackson absolutely lit up the Dolphins. 5 touchdowns. Hollywood Brown got 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions for 147 yards. And Lamar Jackson only rushed the ball 3 times. 17 to 20 for 324. If Lamar Jackson can keep this up, the Ravens are legit Super Bowl contender, because their defense is lights out. Browns, I thought they were being overhyped, and they showed that yesterday. They got exposed. You heard Delanie Walker. They were who we thought they were. And the Browns are going to get everyone's best shot because they've been talked about the whole offseason. Baker, 3 interceptions. I like Baker Mayfield, but that was embarrassing yesterday what they did. He looked confused. He looked rattled. He looked uneasy in the pocket. And the Titans put it on him. They put a hurting on him. And in the defense, they just got avalanched. Marcus Mariota out here conducting a surgical assault on their defense. Derrick Henry running all over them, catching a screen pass, going 75 yards on them. Defense don't look the same. I know they were second in the league in turnovers last year, or forced turnovers, but they had a coordinator change from Greg Williams to Steve Wilks, and I feel like that's a big thing. Steve Wilks was coordinating the Arizona Cardinals defense last year, and we know how that turned out. Baker Mayfield, he was under a lot of duress yesterday. He's not that big of a quarterback. They got O-line concerns. Traded away Kevin Zeitler, one of the best pass blocking guards, to the Giants to get Odell Beckham. Ain't gonna be all those weapons that Baker Mayfield got. He has weapons. Odell, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt after he serves his 8-game suspension. But you ain't gonna be able to get the ball to them dudes, David Njoku. You ain't gonna be able to get the ball to them dudes if you getting sacked. You getting flat ironed by 300-pound linemen. You ain't going nowhere. But the Browns, they're gonna get everybody's best shot. They did not look good yesterday. They got exposed, and their defense does not look good. I know they added all those additions, and it looks good on paper, but football's not played on paper. And the Browns are going to find that out real quickly if they didn't learn it yesterday. And I don't trust Freddie Kitchens as a head coach. He wasn't even a coordinator until the until the back half of the season. And now he got promoted to head coach? First-year head coach with all this expectations? Nah. Browns ain't winning this division. It's looking like the Ravens are going to right now. And don't even get me started on the Bengals. They looked impressive yesterday, but it's Andy Dalton and the Bengals. There's nothing to expect from them. Let's just keep it real. Let me get to the NFC East. Redskins looked relatively decent for a half, and then they got avalanched by the Philadelphia Eagles and Carson Wentz. Giants, Eli, he looks decent. Saquon, he looks like the best running back in football. I'm glad the Giants didn't overuse him yesterday. Only gave him 11 carries. Because they ain't got nothing else. Evan Ingram was relatively impressive yesterday, but Giants ain't going nowhere. They look like they're destined for last place in the NFC East as usual. Redskins, their D looks legit. I can't lie, their D looks good. I mean, aside from giving up 32 points, that 32-3 run that they gave to the Philadelphia Eagles, aside from that, they look good. They got some ballers on that team. They got a lot of ballers on that team. And Keenum, he is a backup, but I think he can win some games. But the Redskins, this looks like a Cowboys and Eagles division. Gallup looks legit yesterday. Dak was throwing the ball all over the lawn. Had a great day yesterday. I was impressed. I'm not the biggest believer in Dak Prescott, but he showed out yesterday. And that's with Zeke only having 53 yards rushing. Dak put the team on his back. And the defense of the Cowboys, it looked a little leaky, but it's still good. They got a lot of good players on their team. They got Byron Jones. They got Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, best linebacker tandem in the league in my estimation. DeMarcus Lawrence, Chidobe Awuzie, Jordan Lewis. They got a good secondary. Safety spots are a little questionable, but overall, they have a talented defense. They have a talented team. I think the Eagles are going to win this division because I'm not a big believer in the Cowboys in the long run. But that was the most impressive game I've seen Dak Prescott play. I was impressed. As much as I hate the Cowboys, they disgust me. Their fan base disgusts me, and I cannot stand them. But yesterday, I have to say they were impressive. They look legit. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC East. But I want to get to the top Week 1 winners. I'm going to be doing my top 5. Top Week 1 winners, top 5 Week 1 losers. But we're going to do the winners first. Patrick Mahomes is my number 1. Mahomes just showed out. Last year was league MVP, 50 touchdowns, over 5,000 yards passing. Yesterday went 25 of 33 for 378 yards and 3 touchdowns. He looks legit. Sammy Watkins was all over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars is looking bad for them. But Patrick Mahomes put on an absolute show. Aside from that no-look pass that he threw to Travis Kelce when he was wide open in the end zone. Other than that, Patrick Mahomes was stellar yesterday. He's like he's going to pick up right where he left off. Kansas City Chiefs look legit, but Patrick Mahomes, if there's any questions about this kid, he just did that against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. That ain't no slouch of a defense. They got studs all over that defense, and he just put them in their place. He put them in their place and let them know. My number 2 Week 1 winner, Carson Wentz. Everyone's having questions about his health, questions about his durability, questions about whether he's the best quarterback in the NFC East, questions about whether he can lead this team. And he showed out yesterday. Wasn't a good look in the first half other than that big bomb to Deshaun Jackson. But he showed out yesterday too. 300-yard passing game, 3 touchdowns. Thought he should have had a 4th touchdown, but they ruled that screen sort of pass that he threw to Alshon. There was a touchdown. They ruled it as a rushing touchdown for Alshon because it was a backwards lateral. But Carson Wentz showed out yesterday, and the Eagles are going to go as far as he takes them. So if he stays healthy, I expect the Eagles to be in the Super Bowl. 3rd winner. I put two positional groups here, so I just lumped it into one. Ravens offense / Packers D. Lamar Jackson was throwing that ball over the lot, but Mark Ingram looks good. He looks good in the Ravens uniform. He looks like he's going to be a big help for Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson continues throwing the ball like that, they got weapons. They got Hollywood Brown. I thought he was the best receiver in the draft. Forget DK Metcalf, N'Keal Harry, A.J. Brown, all them guys. I thought, if healthy, Hollywood Brown was the best receiver in the draft, and he looked the part yesterday. He's going to be something special in that offense. John Harbaugh was not lying when he said this offense was going to look different this year, and it did yesterday. Lamar Jackson only ran the ball 3 times for 6 yards. He was throwing the ball from the pocket. He's throwing it outside the pocket. He was not running. He was throwing it, and he flinged it good. He took whatever criticisms were about him, and granted it was against the Miami Dolphins, but he looked good throwing the football. He looked good. Packers defense looked good too. I was trying to tell my brother Ari, Packers defense is going to be good this year. He's a Packers fan. He didn't believe in the Packers defense, but they drafted good the last few years on defense. They drafted really good the last few years on defense. This year they got Darnell Savage and Rashawn Gary in the first round. They added some free agent additions, Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, and Adrian Amos from the Bears defense. You still got Kyler Fackrell, who led your team in sacks. You got Nick Perry. You got Kenny Clark in the middle of your defense. Packers defense looked impressive against Chicago. I get it was Mitch Trubisky, but their defense looks fast. It looks physical, looks aggressive. They were opportunistic. I feel like they're going to shock a lot of people, and they're going to have a legit defense. You saw Aaron Rodgers after the game hugging Mike Pettin. You heard him at the post-game presser. We finally got a defense. I think the Packers defense is going to surprise a lot of people this year because they look good. And they got Jair Alexander, a legit number one corner. Kevin King, Josh Jackson, who led Iowa in interceptions, second-year player. Tramon Williams as a veteran corner in that locker room. They're legit. At least I think they are. I get it's only week 1, but they look good. They look really good. A number 4 winner is Kyler Murray. Nah, I get it. The Cardinals had a tie and everything, but Kyler Murray was getting abused. He had a welcome to the NFL moment as a rookie. He went 29 of 54, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. But I was impressed with his poise and how his confidence never waned. He brought the Cardinals back, scored 18 straight points in the fourth quarter to get them to overtime. Now, they did end up in a tie, but that's huge for a rookie's confidence. If Tremaine Brock could have made that interception, the Cardinals could have potentially won that game. But I thought Kyler Murray was impressive given all things considered. He doesn't have that much talent around him. So, I mean, it's gonna be a struggle, but that was impressive, especially against a Bill Belichick disciple and Matt Patricia. That was impressive for him to rattle off 18 straight points like that. That was big for his confidence, and the whole team didn't quit, and they rallied around that kid. He led them. It wasn't a win, but it was damn good. I got to give him respect. My last winner of the week is Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott showed out yesterday. 25 of 32 for 405 yards and 4 touchdowns, a career high. He was magnificent yesterday, throwing it to Amari Cooper, throwing it over the top to Michael Gallup. Jason Witten got a touchdown with his slow behind. Wasn't no Zeke to speak of. This was all about Dak. Dak is the reason they won that game yesterday, which is something you can't really say for a lot of the games he's played. But yesterday, that was all about Dak. I get it was against the Giants and they ain't got nobody. But that was impressive what Dak did yesterday. He's shown he wants his money, and the Cowboys don't have to pay that man his money respectfully. It's going to get real interesting in the NFC East. It's going to get real interesting. It's going to get real interesting in the NFC East. Let me tell you. I'm looking forward to it. But let me get to these top 5 losers, because we got some problems. And I'm not going to let this go unnoticed. My first loser is the Miami Dolphins. And let me tell y'all something right now. That was an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace that they were on national TV yesterday. Miami Dolphins got beat 59-10 by the Baltimore Ravens. 59-10. What an absolute disgrace. What a fiasco that was in Miami or in Baltimore, wherever the heck they were playing. That was a disgraceful performance. Hollywood Brown just running free in the secondary. My God. The Miami Dolphins were the cheese, and the Ravens were a cheese grater yesterday because they were just getting shredded all over the lawn. Dolphins look like they quit in the second half, giving up 59 points. You almost gave up 60 to the Baltimore Ravens in the opening week. And I like how during the CBS game, because they had this game nationally televised, and that was a disgraceful performance on national television. The Miami Dolphins don't deserve another game on national TV for the rest of the year. They do not after that performance. They're clearly tanking. And that was disgraceful what we saw yesterday. What an embarrassment on national TV. What an absolute embarrassment. I mean, talk about just a debacle, a catastrophe, a fiasco, humiliation. Whoever the owner is of the Miami Dolphins should be ashamed. He should be embarrassed. The GM should be embarrassed. The head coach should be embarrassed because that was a flat out fiasco yesterday. That was embarrassing. That was a disgraceful performance. Disgraceful on CBS. Players look like they quit out there. Lamar Jackson throwing it all over the lawn on them, conducting an aerial assault on them, an airstrike. You just couldn't make this stuff up with the Miami Dolphins after they didn't trade away all their players too. And then they got the nerve and then CBS got the nerve to show that they got the nerve to show this record. It was just funny. Ryan Fitzpatrick done thrown a touchdown pass for 8 different teams. That's an NFL record. And they think that's not anything to brag about. That ain't nothing to brag about. That ain't nothing to brag about at all. This man's been a journeyman since he been in the league. And he ain't never even sniffed the playoffs. So you know the Dolphins ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere but the cellar. They don't have a snowball's chance in hell of making the playoffs. Because that was embarrassing yesterday. Defense just looked all types of trash yesterday. Garbage. Straight garbage. What an embarrassment that was. Brian Flores got his work cut out for him. And the Miami Dolphins organization, what the hell were you thinking trading away Laramie Tunsil? One of the top young tackles in the league. What were you thinking? I get it. Maybe you trade Kenny Stills because he's had a problem with the coach and he's playing Jay-Z during practice. Yada, yada, yada. But why would you trade Laramie Tunsil away? Left tackles are important in the NFL. And if you're tanking for Tua, what are you giving him to work with? What are you giving him to work with? You can't even find out about Josh Rosen because the team's so damn bad. You can't even find out about him. You can't even find out where you got a quarterback. I feel so sad for Josh Rosen. He got hosed by the Arizona Cardinals and having the worst team in the league and the worst O-line in the league last year. And then then the Cardinals picked Kyler Murray over him. I would have done the same thing. And then they trade him to Miami, and Miami just absolutely tanks and trades away everything. Trades away everything. You trade away Kenny Stills, you trade away Kiko Alonso, you trade away Laramie Tunsil, a top young left tackle in the league, and then you get blown off the field 59-10. How do you get beat by 7 touchdowns? The people of the city of Miami should be demanding oh my goodness. Everybody who attended that game yesterday was a Miami Dolphins fan. They should be asking for their money back. The players don't even deserve to ride home on the private jet that they probably flew into Baltimore on. That's how disgraceful that was yesterday. How do you get beat by 49 points? That means you just didn't show up. You just didn't show up. And if you're not going to show up, why the hell do you deserve to be on national TV? I don't care if this team is local. CBS should have found another game to put on yesterday. I think it was 28-0, 35-0, 42-0, because that was disgraceful. Disgraceful. And what makes us think that Miami's going to be any better? They're looking as guaranteed as NBA contracts right now for a victory. They're looking guaranteed right now. Because I'm not saying they're going to go 0-16, but anybody that plays Miami, they're looking their chops because this is not good. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have a left tackle. They don't have anything. They're tanking. It's clear. And it was even more damning later yesterday when a report came out that players are telling their agents they want out. They want to be traded because they feel like the organization is tanking or the franchise is tanking. And it's clear. It looks like they're tanking. I don't care what Brian Flores says as the head coach. This is disgraceful. This is embarrassing. That was embarrassing yesterday. That was embarrassing. Looking like New England going to roll right through this conference or this division because that was disgraceful. What a shame that was. What a shame. Excuse my language, but what a damn shame that was yesterday. I'm not even a Dolphins fan. I feel bad. I couldn't wish this upon anybody. I couldn't even wish this upon Dallas Cowboys fans, that beating they got yesterday. I hate the Cowboys. I couldn't wish this upon them because that was disgraceful. What a fiasco that was. That was just no good. That was no good. They were a definite loser. They were the easiest top loser yesterday. And let me get to these Detroit Lions because they're disgraceful as well. Last year, they got beat 48-17 by a rookie, Sam Darnold, in opening week. And then yesterday, they get a tie to Kyler Murray after you were up and you give 18 straight points to a rookie. I mean, what the heck, Detroit? Boy, they better call Martin Lawrence or Big Sean or somebody to fix this. They need to let someone else run this franchise because this franchise is pitiful. This is the epitome of disgrace. This is the epitome of mediocrity. They got one playoff win since 1957. And y'all done doled out all that money to Matthew Stafford thinking he gonna save the day. He can't even get you to the playoffs. And they playing one of the toughest divisions in the league. Aaron Rodgers, you got the Bears-style defense, and you got the Minnesota Vikings who look impressive yesterday. Detroit Lions look like they ain't going nowhere. Tying with a rookie QB. Nah, it's over for Detroit. They Best case scenario, they come in third, but they're not coming. They're not winning this division. They're not winning this division at all. Detroit Lions are destined for mediocrity again, like they've been the last few years. What a disgrace they were yesterday. My third top loser is Jameis Winston, because this is like, I think he's done in Tampa Bay after yesterday. He cost them the game. I hate to say I had to blame it on one player and he cost the game. I get it. Tampa Bay had 2 touchdowns called back on hold on penalties. But Jameis Winston lost them the game yesterday. He threw 2 pick sixes and a critical pick 6 on a screen pass where he should have just took the sack. I watched that game from start to finish, and Jameis does not look good. I believe in Bruce Arians as a coach, but Jameis Winston, he just does not. He's not a franchise quarterback. His mechanics, he releases the ball slow. He struggles reading defenses. He's turned the ball over too much, and that's one thing you can't do as a franchise quarterback. You can't turn the ball over, and he just turns it over too much. I believe he's second in the league in turnovers since he came into the league, or first, something like that. Between him and Blake Bortles, they're tops, and that's not a good category to be in with anybody. You don't want to be in no category with Blake Bortles. Jameis, I think he's done in Tampa Bay. It's time for Tampa Bay to start. They'll finish the season with Jameis as a starter. But after that, he ain't getting no contract extension from them. If Tampa Bay does that, they'll be foolish. My fourth top loser is the AFC East, because this looks like it's going to be a cakewalk. I mean, you had the Buffalo Bills and the Jets playing, and it looked like neither team wanted to win the game. Sam Darnold, I mean, I believe he's a franchise quarterback, but yesterday, 4.3 yards per attempt. That ain't going to beat New England. I don't care how good the Jets defense is. Josh Allen still looks like a better runner than thrower as a quarterback. And then don't even get me started. You just heard me talk about Miami and the disgrace that they are. New England's going to sweep this division. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing what they've done. New England's going to run right through this division again and get the number 1 seed. There ain't nobody stopping them. And let me get to these Jacksonville Jaguars, because they're the biggest loser, the last loser of week 1. They lost Nick Foles. Bad enough. But then you have Miles Jack getting ejected, and then you gave up 40 to Kansas City. I get it. Kansas City's probably the best offense in the league. But for this vaunted defense, you weren't getting any stops. You gave up a hell of a lot to Sammy Watkins. He just had a field day. It didn't matter who was covering him. Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Boye, a safety, a linebacker. Sammy Watkins just had a day. He had a day on the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And I expect that defense to be elite. They got playmakers everywhere. Ngakoue, Calais Campbell. You got Miles Jack. Telvin Smith took a year off, which is big. But you still got Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Boye, Ronnie Harrison. They did not look good yesterday at all. And Jacksonville Jaguars are an over-emotional team, which is why Miles Jack got ejected. It was nice. It was nice and all when they were winning that in 2017. It was nice when they had that little run and they got the most turnovers in the league and the most defensive touchdowns. But you got to come to play, man. You can't be over-emotional in the game. Jaguars got a lot of young, over-emotional players. Jalen Ramsey, he talks a lot. And he puts his emotions into the game, and I like that. But sometimes he could get the best of him. I still believe he's the best corner in the league, though. Miles Jack, really talented player, but over-emotional. Telvin Smith, really talented player, but over-emotional. You can't have your best players getting ejected from games and expect to win, especially when you're offense, especially now that Nick Foles is going to be out for an extended period of time. You got to do better, man. Jacksonville does not look good. It does not look good in Jacksonville. It's not looking good at all. At all. Let me get to this last thing before I sign off, because this has to be said. I'm from Tampa. There are three NFL teams in the state of Florida. 3. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Miami Dolphins. And all 3 of these teams are bad right now. The Dolphins are a disgrace. The Bucs ain't got a quarterback. And the Jags, they're all over the place. But it's just a shame that there are 3 NFL teams in this state, and none of them are good. Jacksonville got beat 40-26 yesterday. Tampa Bay got beat 31-17. And Miami got beat 59-10. Do you guys realize that in combined, the Florida teams lost 130 to 53? That is just disgraceful. That is embarrassing. For the great sunshine state of Florida to have 3 teams and none of them be good, this is bad, man. This is bad. This isn't good. As fans of the state of Florida, we're subjected to watching these 3 mediocre teams. Something has to be done. We need to get some out of state games or something. They need to give us some. They need to give us a bonus package for a bonus NFL package or something, because this is embarrassing. I don't want to watch this for 17 weeks. I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch any of these teams. Miami, I definitely don't want to watch. Tampa Bay, it's going to be a fiasco. They'll have some exciting games, but they'll have some bad games. And yesterday was one of those games. In Jacksonville, they don't even got a quarterback, so you can't. None of these teams have a quarterback, but Jacksonville, they don't even have. Hell, they the best. They the best of the 3, and they ain't even got a quarterback. All they got is a defense. This is bad, man. There's no good football in Florida right now, and don't get me started on the Florida State Seminoles. My alma mater. Don't even get me started on them. I'm not going to do that today. But these Florida NFL teams, man, this is not good. This is not a good look. This is the Sunshine State, and there's nothing sunshiny about any of these teams. I see dark days ahead on the TV on Sundays for me and my family, because this is embarrassing. 59 to 10, 31 to 17, and 40 to 26. I mean, goodness, man. Goodness. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. There's no good football to watch in Florida right now. At least not the NFL teams. There's no good football to watch right now. These 3 teams are garbage. They're trash. I hate to say that, but they're trash. There's no hope right now. And they all look far away from winning. The closest one is probably Jacksonville. And all they got is a defense. They only have a quarterback. I wasn't a big believer in Nick Foles anyways, but they would have been respectable at least. Tampa Bay don't got a quarterback. Miami, they look so far. They're like Drake's album. They're so far gone. They're so far gone. We can't even find when the hell they're going to be relevant. This is bad, man. This is bad. This is not good. This is bad. It's just not good, man. It's not good. But I'm going to sign off. Appreciate y'all for listening. Yesterday was not a good day for me, man. It was not a good day. Pittsburgh Steelers upset me. Miami Dolphins, watching them, it disgusted me. I had to say something. I'm not even a Dolphins fan. Tampa Bay, bad. Jacksonville, their season's over. It's going to be a long NFL season, man. But thank y'all for listening. I'm out.